The Walking Dead has really brought the zombie culture in video games and movies to the forefront like it's never seen before. It's now considered pretty cool to like zombies. The Walking Dead has brought a drama, both in the comic books and on the television show, and the Telltale game winning game of the year really has established the zombie as more or less the new sparkly vampire. There's a new movie coming out called Warm Bodies, and it's all about a zombie who gets more or less brought back to life because he sees a girl that he likes. So that's awesome. But now I'm starting to wonder, have I really been this cool my whole life? For the last 15 plus years, I've been more or less a zombie expert. I've been playing Resident Evil for most of my video game life, and I've always, I remember trying to, come over to my grandmother's house because she had cable and I didn't. I would always try to time my visits for when Night of the Living Dead would be on television. And I've pretty much been into zombies for, like I said, the last 15 years. So now I must be one of the coolest people on the planet. I have dozens of zombie movies and dozens of zombie games. I must be some kind of zombie, cool guy. But now we're seeing more diverse genres in the zombie video game universe. We have Arma 2. Everyone knows Arma 2 because of DayZ. DayZ is an open world military style MMO that has been getting a lot of awesome buzz, so much to the point that the developers of the mod, who were the developers of Arma 2, are working on a standalone game. Now, not to beat the horse to the water, but the gaming company Hammerpoint developed their own MMO called WarZ, which has kind of annoyed the developers of DayZ, but they've really come up with an interesting game here in the WarZ. It's an open world taking place in the state of Colorado, an open world zombie MMO where you have to survive against the zombies, you have to eat, you have to drink, which is kind of interesting. You have to find weapons that, whatever weapon you can find, which are kind of, sparse. You can't even just punch a zombie. It's a little annoying. But it's been getting a decent amount of hate. One reason the WarZ has been getting hate is because when they released on Steam, they kind of lied about the features in their game. And I had bought the game the Saturday before it was released on Steam. I thought it was pretty interesting. I was getting killed by players left and right and zombies left and right, not finding too many guns, not finding too many weapons. And then I realized I was playing the game all wrong. The game is not about confrontation. It's about, stealth. You really want to see how long you can survive, and that, takes a lot of patience because you have to find food, and sometimes it's really hard to find food or water, and you really never have a weapon to defend yourself unless you're one of these people who get accused of hacking or being a bandit because you've killed somebody and you've taken their stuff. But I think it's an interesting game. It's got a little bit of downtime. There's some boring parts of it. There's a lot of walking around in the woods with nothing to do because going to a big city is going to get you dead. And I realize that that's what people don't like about the game. They thought buying the WarZ, or, I haven't played DayZ yet, so I don't know about that. They thought buying the WarZ was going to be a fun experience of meeting up with new people in a post-apocalyptic world. They assumed that they'd be walking down the road and they'd see some dude and they'd want to go chum it up with this guy and go on and take the zombies on together. But that's not how it works in the WarZ. Basically, if you see somebody with a gun, they're going to shoot you. And I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to work in real life. Once they see you, you're done. And if you have nothing, it does not matter. They're going to kill you. But, can you blame them? There's no one to stop them. This is what the world is. There's no filter on what the rules are in WarZ. It's basically you log in and you just dive for cover. You try and sneak into a store and find some water, and then you just sit and wait, either to starve or be eaten or to be clubbed in the back of the head with a hammer by some a-hole. Although that hasn't happened in a long time because I really don't go near the cities anymore, which you would think that that's what you would want to do in a real-life zombie situation. But so the supplies are definitely limited. I think it's gotten a little more hate than it needs to get, but hopefully that sparks the developer into doing something a little more creative with it.
Ah, did something happen? Oh, no, just walking through the woods. Just walking through the woods.
This is the year, supposedly, of 2 brand new video game systems coming out on the market. The new Xbox is supposedly going to be announced in the next few months, along with the new PlayStation 3. And apparently, rumor has it, Microsoft and Sony are going to be holding press conferences outside of the E3 show beforehand to announce their system, so that way they don't have to rely solely on the buzz of E3 to get their message out, and then they have even more time to get the word out, which could be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. It seems like while this has been one of the longer video game console generations, it just seems like it's not time yet for a new system, in my opinion. But it should be interesting to see what they're going to do. And there's a rumor out now that Sony is going to be retiring the DualShock controller, which they've been using since PlayStation 1. And that's more or less the controller that I prefer to use. I like it more than the Xbox controller, and I like it more than anything Nintendo's really had in a while. But supposedly there's a couple of rumors going around that Sony is going to pull another Move situation, and they're going to have a controller with a screen on it, which has started to make some people complain about them ripping off Nintendo again. I've played the Wii U, the controller with the screen on it. I have it. There's not really any game, in my opinion, worthwhile getting for the Wii U yet. The one game I've been playing mostly is Zombie U, but I've never been a fan of touchscreen controls. Once the Xperia Play came out, that was the phone that I had to get, because I like a decent amount of the app games, but I don't really like taking up a quarter of the screen with my fingers and then not being able to see what's going on. So the idea of having a touchscreen, I find it very gimmicky, just like I thought the Kinect was, or not the Kinect, the Wii was gimmicky. I haven't yet found a situation where touching a screen has been more immersive in a game. But I thought that the Move was better than the Wii. So I think PlayStation could take what Nintendo has done and make a better interpretation. And it seems like more and more companies in the tablet department are feeling the same way. It's interesting to have touchscreen, but physical buttons are better. I mean, at the Consumer Electronics Show, we saw a few different. The Razor's Edge from NVIDIA, I believe, was like an Xbox controller with a screen on it for playing PC games. They said they were running Borderlands on it. It was supposed to be a pretty cool thing. The Arcos gamepad, it looks like the Vita. So a lot of people are integrating touch play into video games, but we're realizing that physical buttons might be where it's at. I mean, look at the Wii U. They bet everything they had on the motion controls of the Wii, but now they've come back to, you still have motion control games on the Wii U. You have the sensor bar and everything, but now you also have the Gamepad Pro or whatever it's called, where it looks like a typical controller. Even the Wii U gamepad, it's got all the physical buttons, and it's got back to the thumbsticks as opposed to motion control. So I think motion control and I think touchscreen is a little bit of a gimmick still, even to this day. But as long as it's done well and is actually integrated into a game as more than just, tap on these screws and the plate comes off, like in Resident Evil Revelations. Although I will say, Resident Evil Revelations, it didn't, I didn't have to worry about the touchscreen being annoying and being an important aspect of controlling the game, like it was in the Zelda games for the original DS, where you moved and you slashed and you did everything with the touchscreen. And that was something that kind of took away from the game for me, because so much time was spent with me trying to not block anything that I was seeing that I just gave up on the game and went to play Ocarina of Time, where I didn't have to worry about missing any of the action on the screen because my hands blocked it. But the PlayStation, it's only a rumor that they might have a screen on the new PlayStation controller. An early design I saw for a theory of what one was going to be before was more or less the DualShock controller with two of the PlayStation Move balls on the top of it, so that they were clearly thinking about integrating the Move into the PlayStation 4 more dedicated than the Move has been on the PlayStation 3, which has been more or less abandoned in my opinion in the last 2 years. Although I loved it, I thought it was a lot of fun. It's really different playing the first person shooters with it, but it seems as though if this is true, it's gonna be a sad day for the PlayStation, because I've been playing every game that pretty much got me into playing video games. I played on the PlayStation controller, after the Nintendo. But as long as it's not the Boomerang, that giant ridiculous looking thing that they had demoed for the PlayStation 3, then it should be good. I wouldn't mind getting one of those, though. I wonder if there was ever a working version of it. Alright guys, thanks for watching, but look forward to the show on Fridays, because this is more of a pilot, and I wanted to give an idea for a kind of show that I wanted to do. And so Fridays is going to be when the show gets posted regularly. From this Friday is going to be the first regular posting of the show, and we're going to have more news stories, more clips, and more interesting things in the world of video games and movies. See you then.